sit right there.
The courtroom goes quiet as the judge asks the jury if they've reached the verdict. The moment feels heavy. Everyone knows that whatever is written on that paper will change someone's life forever. The clerk takes the verdict form, and the judge calls the defendant, Carly Gregg, to rise. This is the moment of truth. Viewers, what do you think? Will the jury go guilty or not guilty?
Ma'am, I see you're holding some papers. The jury been able to reach a verdict in any of these counts.
Yes, sir.
All right, if you would, please hand the paper to the bailiff. Ms. Gregg, please rise and come.
The judge begins reading. Count 1, guilty of first-degree murder. Count 2, guilty of attempted murder. Count 3, guilty of tampering with evidence. Each word feels like a hammer dropping. Carly sits down slowly, and the courtroom breathes in a mix of shock and finality. How would you react if you heard 3 serious guilty verdicts back to back?
Podium, along with your attorneys. All right, the verdicts appear to be in proper form. Verdict of the jury is count 1. We, the jury, find the defendant, Carly Gregg, guilty of first-degree murder as charged in the indictment. Count 2. We, the jury, find the defendant, Carly Gregg, guilty of attempted murder as charged in the indictment. Count 3. We, the jury, find the defendant, Carly Gregg, guilty of tampering with evidence as charged in the indictment. Please be seated, Ms. Gregg.
The judge polls every juror one by one. Yes, yes, yes. A full row. Then another. Every single juror gives the same answer. The verdict isn't just unanimous, it's absolute. There is no disagreement, no confusion, no hesitation. Do you think polling the jury adds fairness to the courtroom, or just tension?
Ladies and gentlemen, the jury is custom for the court to poll the jury. I have to do it each time. And for each count, I'm not being rude. The quickest way for me to get through this is to simply point at you and you answer out loud. As to count 1, we, the jury, find the defendant, Carly Gregg, guilty of first-degree murder as charged in the indictment. Beginning on the first row, ma'am, is that your verdict? Yes, sir, is that your verdict? Yes, sir. Ma'am, is that your verdict? Yes, sir, is that your verdict? Yes. Ma'am, is that your verdict? You got to answer out loud, ma'am. I'm sorry. Yes. On the back row, sir, is that your verdict? Ma'am, is that your verdict? Ma'am, is that your verdict? Yes. Sir, is that your verdict? Ma'am, is that your verdict? Ma'am, is that your verdict? Ma'am, is that your verdict? That verdict is proper and unanimous.
The judge moves to count 2 and repeats the process. And once again, every juror confirms guilty. By this point, the emotional weight is overwhelming. You can feel the finality settling into the room as Carly listens quietly. Would you want the jury to explain the reason for their decisions in cases like this?
As to count 2, we, the jury, find the defendant, Carly Gregg, guilty of attempted murder as charged in the indictment. Beginning on the first row. Ma'am, is that your verdict? Yes, sir. Sir, is that your verdict? Yes, sir. Ma'am, is that your verdict? Sir, is that your verdict? Yes. Ma'am, is that your verdict? Yes. On the back row, sir, is that your verdict? Yes, sir. Ma'am, is that your verdict? Yes. Ma'am, is that your verdict? Sir, is that your verdict? Ma'am, is that your verdict? Ma'am, is that your verdict? Ma'am, is that your verdict?
The judge polls the jurors for the third and final time. Every answer is the same. Guilty. 3 counts. 3 unanimous verdicts. The judge officially enrolls the verdict, making it final. Do you think unanimous verdicts make the justice system stronger?
Count 3, we, the jury, find the defendant, Carly Gregg, guilty of tampering with evidence as charged in the indictment. Beginning on the first row. Ma'am, is that your verdict? Yes, sir. Sir, is that your verdict? Yes, sir. Ma'am, is that your verdict? Sir, is that your verdict? Yes, sir. Ma'am, is that your verdict? Yes, sir. On the back row, sir, is that your verdict? Yes, ma'am, is that your verdict? Ma'am, is that your verdict? Sir, is that your verdict? Ma'am, is that your verdict? Ma'am, is that your verdict? Ma'am, is that your verdict?
With guilt established, the judge transitions into the sentencing phase. The prosecution decides not to call new witnesses. Instead, they rely on all the evidence the jury already heard, plus one photo they want to introduce. This moment signals that the facts are already strong enough. No need for more testimony. Have you ever wondered why some cases don't bring witnesses during sentencing?
All right. All three verdicts appear to be unanimous. The court will enroll the verdict. All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, with you having returned a verdict of guilty in count 1 and count 2 of the indictment, we'll now proceed to the sentencing phase of the trial. State of Mississippi may call its first witness.
Your Honor, the state has no witnesses. We would just ask that the court adopt the previous testimony that the jurors have heard, with the exception of we seek to introduce one photograph.
All right. State wishes to move to adopt and incorporate by reference the record of the guilt phase. Is that correct?
That's correct,
Show your piece of evidence to the other side. Any objection?
Your Honor. Yes, Your Honor.
Y'all approach.
The defense follows the same path. No extra witnesses, no new testimony. They also adopt the full record from the guilt phase. This means the sentencing decision will be based entirely on what the jury already knows. Do you think the defense should always bring at least one witness in the sentencing phase? The judge now instructs the jury on the sentencing options: life imprisonment or life imprisonment with the possibility of parole. He also explains the factors they must consider: age, background, circumstances of the crime, signs of youth-related immaturity, and the possibility of rehabilitation. This is the most critical moment: the difference between life with hope and life without it. What would you consider most important when deciding between life and life with parole?
All right, the state has moved to adopt and incorporate by reference the record of the guilt phase of the trial. The court will grant that request. Does the state have any other witnesses it wishes to call?
No, sir, Your Honor.
All right, defense may call any witnesses.
We don't have any witnesses, Your Honor.
All right. With the defense not calling any witnesses, attorneys approach. Does the defense rest its case in chief as to sentencing?
We do, Your Honor.
Do you also move to adopt and incorporate by reference the record?
We do, Your Honor.
All right. Y'all approach.
The same question applies to count 2, attempted murder. Should the defendant receive life or life with parole. The jury must make two separate decisions, each carrying enormous consequences. Imagine being a juror right now. Could you shoulder this responsibility?
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, with both sides agreeing to rely on the testimony from the guilt phase, the court will further instruct you at this time. You, the jury, have found the defendant guilty of the crime of first-degree murder in count 1. You must now decide whether to impose either a sentence of life imprisonment in the custody of the Department of Corrections or life imprisonment in the custody of the Department of Corrections with the possibility of parole. The court instructs the jury that you should consider the following factors in making your decision. 1. The defendant's chronological age. 2. The defendant's family, home, and environment. 3. The circumstances of the homicide offense. 4. The defendant's incompetencies associated with youth. And 5. The defendant's possibility of rehabilitation. The court instructs the jury that when all 12 of you reach and agree upon the defendant's sentence for first-degree murder, you shall return the sentence in one of the following forms. If you agree to sentence the defendant to life imprisonment in the custody of the Department of Corrections, your verdict will be as follows. Quote, count 1. Quote, as to count 1, we the jury sentence the defendant Carly Gregg to life imprisonment. Close quotes. If you agree to sentence the defendant to life imprisonment in the custody of the Department of Corrections with the possibility of parole, your verdict will read as follows. Quote, as to count 1, we the jury sentence the defendant Carly Gregg to life imprisonment with the possibility of parole. Close quote. If you cannot agree to the sentence for the defendant as to first-degree murder, your verdict will be as follows. Quote, as to count 1, we the jury are unable to affix the punishment. Close quote. You, the jury, have found the defendant guilty of the crime of attempted murder in count 2. You must now decide whether to impose either a sentence of life imprisonment in the custody of the Department of Corrections or life imprisonment in the custody of the Department of Corrections with the possibility of parole. The court instructs the jury.
Professional case summary. The jury found Carly Gregg guilty on all 3 major counts: first-degree murder, attempted murder, tampering with evidence. Each verdict was unanimous, confirmed individually by every juror. The sentencing phase now asks the jury to choose between life imprisonment or life with the possibility of parole for both major counts. This decision will determine whether the defendant has even the smallest chance at freedom in the distant future. The broader theme of this case? The justice system balancing accountability with the question of rehabilitation. A jury bearing the weight of life-altering decisions. A courtroom facing the consequences of violence, evidence, and law. Final CTA for your video. If you want more real courtroom moments with high-stakes drama and emotional truth, don't forget to like, comment, would you choose life or life with parole? And subscribe for more powerful courtroom breakdowns and verdict reactions.